Welcome to another edition of Raw LITE, where I, Chris Steele, give a grading of what happened on Raw this week in a very short snippet. It's either 2 thumbs up, 1 thumb up, a flat or 1 thumb down, or 2 thumbs down if it really bombed. First thing we had this week is none other than Kurt Angle, Constable Corbin coming out, and then Roman Reigns comes out. He does a little bit of bickering, but then it leads into a match of Corbin versus Roman Reigns, where we have, at the end of it, Finn Balor comes out, and Roman Reigns comes and capitalizes on Corbin, gets the win, which is pretty obvious that he should get the win. If he didn't get the win, that would look really odd, because he is facing, for the Universal Championship, Brock Lesnar. All right, then next up, we had a backstage segment, a couple of them. First one was of Ronda Rousey, and she's having her first match this night, so that'll be interesting to see. And then we have another one with Seth Rollins and a partner, who we do not know, versus Dolph and Drew, and that will be a match later to come in the night. Next up, we then have Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. Kind of interesting. Was not expecting this outcome, with Bobby Roode getting the upper hand on Mojo Rawley. If you go over and watch Pints Up and Pints Down, you'll see Paul and I are okay with this feud. This will be something interesting to see, but I was not expecting what was to come of this, and that was Bobby Roode getting the win. Next up, we have Elias coming out, doing his thing on the guitar, which is never really singing a song, but he is then interrupted by Bobby Lashley. Kind of interesting little segment. Elias has his camera crew doing his documentary, following him around, getting every single portion of this ass beating, I want to say, from Bobby Lashley on Elias. Camera crew gets in there, films it. Kind of funny, kind of interesting. Obviously, we know this is leading to some sort of feud. Next up, Paul called this one last week, if you watched last week's edition of Pints Up or Pints Down. But we had Titus O'Neil versus one half of the Authors of Pain, which was Razar. Turned into Razar getting the upper hand and beating Titus. So we can only figure that this is going to turn into Titus Worldwide versus Authors of Pain. And you know what? The Raw tag division is lacking, kind of weak right now, so they could use this. Next up, we have the KO show, and it is back, and he has Jinder Mahal as a guest, but turns upside down, from Braun Strowman, who comes and tips over the whole entire stage. Another one of his acts as a monster. This does lead into a match of Jinder Mahal versus Braun Strowman, where Jinder actually gets the win due to Kevin Owens, again, messing around on the outside, trying to steal the Money in the Bank briefcase from Braun Strowman, so Jinder Mahal actually gets the win on this. Next up, we have a backstage segment of Roman Reigns and Tyler Breeze, where Tyler Breeze was going to be Seth Rollins' tag partner, but says, no, I've got your back, Seth, and we have 2/3 of the Shield back together. Where's Dean? Will he be making a comeback? We're not sure. So next up, then we have Dolph and Drew versus 2/3 of the Shield. But then Corbin comes out, stops it, and says, no, Roman. It is just a handicap match. What? Dolph and Drew get the win. Has to be that way. If Seth Rollins would have gotten the win, it would have made Dolph and Drew look very, very weak. And then obviously we'd know the outcome, or what should be the outcome at SummerSlam. So can't have Rollins beating both of them. Next segment we have is B-Team coming out, and they have new music. Kind of corny, kind of cheesy, but I think that's why we like them so much. But anyways, we have B-Team versus the Revival. Midway through the match, all of a sudden, we have the Deleters of World as their tag partners, as they're about to get the tag, and that is one big swerve. I think what we have coming here is maybe a bunch of tag teams forming here. Because as you noted earlier in this video, we have Titus Worldwide, Authors of Pain, the Revival, the Deleters of World, and now B-Team. That's 5 tag teams possibly here. And you know what? Raw could use a tag team division because SmackDown is creaming them right now at this point. Next up, we have Paul Heyman's interview. Very, very believable. Paul is great at his job. He even had some tears. That's tough to do. But in my honest opinion, I think this is going to be something's going to happen at SummerSlam, whether Paul takes sides with Brock and it was just all a big ploy, or, and this would be a big or, does Paul team up with Roman Reigns? That would be interesting. I think a lot of the fans would actually like that because I think they already consider Roman Reigns a heel anyways, and then to pair him up with Paul Heyman would be huge. Next up we have Bayley and Sasha Banks versus the Riot Squad again, but Ruby Riot is back. Interesting. I still think that they're trying to work on a women's Raw tag division, which we'll find out in the coming months. Maybe this is what's going to happen. I'm not really sure yet, but Sasha and Bayley looking good as always. I think it would be a good tag division if they had a girls tag division, but we'll see. Lastly, another girls match. Kind of weird having back-to-back women's matches, but this is where Ronda Rousey comes out and has her first Raw match against Alicia Fox. Although Alicia comes out to Alexa Bliss's music, kind of odd because Alicia Fox does have her own. Makes her look like a sidekick in my book. But what's the outcome? Ronda whooping up on Alicia Fox. Not a big surprise, especially for her first match, and she's going against Alexa Bliss. If she were to have lost, make her look really weak, especially when we haven't seen much of Alicia Fox as of lately. But Alicia did get a lot more offense than I was expecting. So Ronda, though, took it to her, looked painful, looks devastating as always. It probably really does hurt. And that is your short snippet of Raw. You tell me your thoughts. My thoughts this week, same as last week, just bleh. Flat, not really sure. They are building up to SummerSlam, but I feel like they could have really more oomph behind this, not so flat. Paul Heyman's interview was really nice because that is the main event, but also Ronda Rousey was really neat too, having her first one. So I'm just going to give it a flat. You tell me what you think in the comments section. Am I giving this the right review or am I not? But again, this is another edition of Raw Light where I give you a short snippet of what happened on Raw. Tune in again next week for another edition of Raw Light, and also to our next channel. Don't forget we have Pints Up or Pints Down, where we really give an in-depth analysis of what happened on Raw and SmackDown, where they face each other. Again, another edition of Raw Light. Tune in next week for another one.